salamu zimfikie Hashimu mwenye cheo.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
Honourable members of Parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice for the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want opinion say aye?
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of Parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Ili kupata skiza tune ya Sitoki Jikoni kwenye simu yako, dial *811 *816#.
Umeingiaje kwa hii jikoni?
Wewe achana bwana, wewe ujui tulitokea wapi? Acha hata wewe naye toka hapa.
Wacha upuzi yako hiyo. Toka nje bwana.
Hii jikoni niko hapa ndani. Na nitakaa hapa ili make decision.
Wacha maneno yako bwana, toka nje bwana. Wewe unajua tulijenga hapa watu wawili hii jikoni.
Wewe kwa wakati nilikuwa naandikishana contract ya kufanya kazi kwa hii jikoni.
Wewe toka bwana, wacha.
Kupata skiza tune hiyo ya Sitoki Jikoni, dial *811 *816#.
Sisi hatuna haja na yeye. Haja yetu ni mama yake.
Watakutupa jaani kama taka wewe.
Hivi ndivyo utakavyokuwa ukinikaribisha kila siku.
Nikisimama hapa namuona kombo tu. Wewe sikuoni. Zari hakustahili kuwa hai kabisa.
Mimi niko sawa.
Taka nini mama?
To all our prospective candidates, are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Good afternoon. Thank you for creating time for us. This is KBC. A very warm welcome to the Lunchtime News. My name is Irene Muchuma Udim. On sign language interpretation, we have Anne Wangeshi. Do interact with us on this first day of the month of March 2022, where Pamoja African Alliance has vowed to conditionally support former Prime Minister Raila Odinga in the August 9th general election, and political parties continue to take shape ahead of the August 9th general election. Let's interact on all our social media platforms this afternoon. Now, a 25-year-old girl from Nakuru County has challenged her physical circumstances to follow her passion of becoming a journalist. Rachel Nyokabi, who was born without limbs, did not let her disability stop her from following her dreams and pursuing her passion. She is currently engaged in online writing as she seeks employment. Purity Mseu has the details.
When Rachel Nyokabi was born 25 years ago, her parents realized that she was different from her other siblings.
I was born with physical disability. Both my arms and legs ziko disabled. Lakini my parents never gave up on me. Walinipeleka shule when I was still young.
She was forced to be confined in a wheelchair and use her mouth to do some of the tasks the hands should do. However, that did not stop her from pursuing her dream of becoming a journalist.
Pale shuleni nilipopeleka walinifanyia interview na wakaweza kuona ninaweza soma because nilikuwa ninajua mambo kadhaa. Kwa sababu pia my speech is okay. Na wali manage kuona ability yangu kubwa iko kwa mdomo wangu, na hapo ndipo nilianza kuandika kutumia mdomo, nikasoma kawaida kama mtoto mwingine. Nikamaliza darasa la 8 mwaka wa 2010 na nikaperform vizuri, nikaweza kwenda kujoin high school at Joytown Secondary School. It's a special school and it's in Thika.
Mimi nasema mama wote ke please hapana weka toto ndani kama yeye iko disabled ama anything, please come out because watu iko mingi is helping.
Following in the footsteps of great journalists despite her circumstances. With a great dynamic presence and bright smile, Nyokabi began online writing after finishing her journalism diploma course.
Niliishi kutamani kusomea utangazaji, lakini sikujua nitaweza kufikia lini ndoto yangu ya kuwa mtangazaji pia. Niliweza kujoin shule baadaye on 2017 when I did journalism and mass communication at diploma level, na niliweza kumaliza last year.
Ako na ndoto ya kukuwa mtangazaji na tunayamwombea pia. At least siku moja hata sisi tumuone akisoma news na tutafurahi kwa ndoto yake imecome true.
Nyokabi has artistic creativity and ambitious story that defies her circumstances. From a life without limbs, she is truly living a life without limits. Purity Museo, Lunchtime News.
Residents of Moist Bridge, Uasin Gishu County, are demanding answers following the death of 2 people in the alleged hands of police. They claim officers in the area are notorious for demanding bribes, failure to which the officers resort to physical violence.
They saw the scenes after the angry residents took to the street to demonstrate against the state of insecurity in the area.
Kama Matiang'i ndio kazi ulipewa na wananchi, tumechoka, hatukutaki tena. Lakini wewe usiesi wasirende, lazima haki itendeke.
The latest being the death of a young man who fell in River Nzoia trying to run away from police after they were busted at a drinking den.
Gava alikuja kukimbiza watu wa kunywa busa. Sasa wakakimbishana nao mpaka Riverside, River Nzoia. Mmoja wetu alidedi yesterday Ndio tumemtoa leo.
Walikuja hao mapolisi hawa Sirende, huyo afisa huyo alikuja akatufukuza mbio. Sisi tukakimbia hapo Riverside, mtu akaanguka. Afisa ndo alimsukuma hata kuanguka. Alimsukuma akaanguka kwa maji, akaona tu akikunywa maji na akafunguka mbio badala amsaidie yana to.
The residents who claim the deaths could have been prevented now want the Ministry of Internal Security to transfer the officers from the area.
Ndamana kwa haki tunapigwa bulletproof. Lakini sisi kama wananchi tumechukia kitendo, tumedharau kitendo na hatujafurahia kitendo.
Now, the release of an inmate is often met with jubilation by family and close friends. At the Corinda Women Prison in Busia, the release of one Jacqueline Utoro was not only celebrated at home, her former inmates organized a befitting farewell after 3 years behind bars. Take a look. There was joy at the Corinda Women Prison in Busia County during the farewell ceremony of a prisoner after serving her 3-year sentence. Before the goodbye salutation, Jacqueline Mutoro warmly hugged her friends at the prison. Mutoro was sentenced in 2019 for causing bodily harm to a suspected thief for robbing her shop.
Nimekaa jela, nilikuwa nimefungwa miaka 3. Na siku ya leo nimefurahi maana nimemaliza kifungo changu. Narudi nyumbani kujiunga na jamii yangu. Nashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu.
She noted that through her sentence, she has been able to acquire several life skills that will help her sustain her livelihood.
Reintegration process inamaanisha kwamba mfungwa anarudishwa nyumbani na anarudishwa kwa hali ambayo iko ya juu.
Zile makosa ambayo iliwaleta hapa si mwisho wa maisha. Tulikuwa tuna encourage ya kwamba they can take advantage of their challenges. Now I create something positive out of it.
Corinda Women Prison in charge, Patricia McCalley, said she was confident the skills acquired by prisoners while serving their sentences will enable them to be self-dependent.
All the rehabilitation programs that we have, which have been sponsored by our stakeholders, like the feeds, Binti Care, Clean Start, zote tumekuwa tukifanya na amekuwa akishirikiana katika hizo programs.
Ujuzi ambaye nimepata hapa nikienda nyumbani, naenda kufungua biashara pia kuweza kuuza hiyo vitu ili nikaweze kujiendeleza na familia.
Aendelee kuwa mtu wa Mungu, aendelee kushiriki katika mambo ya kikanisa ili aendelee kupata huduma na pia msaada wa kiroho.
Her sentiments were echoed by lobby groups who added that prisoners should not be neglected when released. For Mutoro, it was time to reunite with family back home amid a waiting celebration. Samburu County Commissioner Henry Wafula has encouraged elders to be in the forefront in advocating for peace among communities living within the Amaya Triangle, despite government efforts to enhance security in the aforementioned areas that include Samburu, Laikipia, Baringo and Isiolo counties. Insecurity is still prevalent in those areas.
Different organizations have partnered with communities in Samburu, Laikipia, Baringo and Isiolo counties to organize a 3-day workshop in which stakeholders from the 4 counties were invited to discuss how to improve security in the area.
Tumekubaliana na mwenzangu na hawa county commissioners wengine na hawa wengine kutoka county ya kwamba sasa tutakuwa tunaenda mashinani. Tukimaliza hii ya leo kwa sababu ni ya kwanza mwaka huu, tutaomba mashirika haya na yale mengine ya tuongoze, ya tusupport. Ndio tuende sasa kwa wazee huko nyumbani, kwa vijana wetu wa Morani na vijana huko ambayo saa nyingine wanashughulika na hii, tuongee tukiwa na viongozi wote.
Community Safety Initiative Chief Executive Officer Milka Lolkurum said the workshop is meant to assess the effectiveness of the government's existing strategies towards enhancing security and peace building.
Jambo ambalo tumeona ya kwamba inachangia sana upande wa Laikipia ni operation ambayo imekuwa employed na government. Huu umefanya watu wengi kuwa na revenge, especially pastoralists.
Ukiwa paka mashinani kama machiefs na assistant chiefs katika location yako, sub location yako, lazima uwe na black book ya kuandika wale wahalifu ambao wataingia. Wakiingia tunaanza kufuata. Kazi yetu ni kufuata.
The stakeholders believe that solutions towards enhancing security will be agreed upon, but only if area chiefs and the county commissioner offices work together, as well as by involving the local communities in dialogue efforts.
Victims of the 2007-2008 post-election violence have called on politicians to support their peace campaign ahead of the August 9th general election. The peace ambassadors, drawn from 33 counties, want politicians to exercise restraint in their public engagement activities to avoid stirring animosity in the citizenry.
Speaking during the National Day for Internal Displaced Persons at the Nakuru Agricultural Society of Kenya grounds, the National IDP Network Chairman Patrick Githinje called on relevant authorities to crack the whip hard on inciters.
Vinonda hazijapona, ni kwamba tulituliza, bado zinaendelea kuungua ndani, because katika nchi yetu ya Kenya wado IDP wako wengi, wengine wako kwa camp. Saa hizi tukisema tuko na group nyingi ambazo ziko kwa mfano tuko na watu wanaitwa Moho Farm, ambaye ni wale wazee wa Kongo waliletwa pale na president in 2009. Tangu 2009 wamekuwa kwa hema mpaka leo hivi. Tumetoka huko leo na bado wengi wamekufa.
Githinje called on politicians to stop divisive campaigns and turn down political rhetoric, warning that the trend was setting the country on a wrong course ahead of the August general election.
Wanasiasa wameanza kuleta utatanishi, tumeanza kusikia majina madoadoa, tumeanza kusikia kabila hii, tunataka kusikia region hii. Hii yote tunasema kwamba sisi tutapingana naye, na pia sisi tuko na kula, sisi ni wapiga kura na tujakuwa consulted, na tunasema kwamba tunataka kuwa consulted kwa njia ambayo tunataka kwenda mbele. Pia tunataka serikali tupatie apology na imalize hawa IDP, because tumesafa siku nyingi, watu wamekufa, wengi wamejinyonga kwa sababu ya frustration.
A victim of the 2007-2008 post-election skirmishes, Lucy Kiplangat, urged the youth to resist the temptation of money from selfish politicians to cause havoc.
Na tunaambia wananchi tuache vita kabisa, hata kama kura 8 na 8 tachukua, hatutaki kujua, tunataka amani yetu ya Kenya.
The IDPs further claim that they are yet to be settled 15 years down the line. Ijelis Aladi for Lunchtime News.
Several families in Gatoro area of Ruai who lost their property after it was destroyed by fire have received some aid from well-wishers. The affected family received foodstuff and blankets on top of a paid 1-month rent. They are now calling on the government to construct access roads in the area in case of emergencies.
This is the aftermath of a fire incident at Gatoro area of Ruai in Nairobi's Kasarani area. Residents picking up the pieces from what a few hours used to be their homes.
Mimi nilikuwa nimeenda sokoni. Napiganga chipo pale kwa barabara Ruai. Lakini nilikuja kwa ploti nikakuta vitu zangu zote zimechomeka. Nilikuwa na huzuni zaidi.
Kuna watu wenye waliokoa mtoto, mimi nilikuja mtoto ameshaokolewa. Msima moto haikufika hata kitoko. Sisi wenyewe tulingangana lakini ikakushinda.
Na amesema atatusimamia rent ya mwezi mmoja. Hiyo itatusaidia kickstart our life. Kwa hivyo tunashukuru sana.
The residents can however afford a smile after well-wishers came to their aid. The well-wishers led by SportPesa CEO Captain Ronald Karauri at the same time paid for their 1-month rent before they plan on how to start their lives again.
Unajua hapa Nairobi County kuna shida mingi. Hapa Kasarani, hata Kasarani Ruai ward ni kubwa sana, ni 98 square kilometers. Ukiangalia hata mabarabara, hata tukipata hizo mzima moto zikuja hapa, kufika hapa ndani itakuwa bado ni shida. Sasa unajua kuna miradi saa zingine lazima tufanye kwanza, hata kabla tufike kwa mzima moto, mabarabara lazima zifanywe, maji hata hakuna. Hizo ni vitu lazima tuanzie nazo kwanza.
Elsewhere, Kenyans have been urged to donate food surplus at their disposal to the needy population.
Wale wana benefit kutoka food banking out of the children's home and the Roy Outreach Mission, na imekuwa msaada kwa familia mingi. Saa hizi watoto niko nao 34 wale wako in-house, na hizo familia ni 100, na mmekuwa msaada kwetu.
Say thank you most sincerely for the on behalf of the children. I know very well that if these children were here today, they will sing a song.
Speaking during celebration of 5 years, Food Banking Kenya urged partners of goodwill to come on board and continue feeding the needy in the community.
Wakati tunapeleka hizo chakula shuleni, unaona kiwango cha watoto ambao wanakuja shuleni kinaongezeka. Kwa hivyo kunakuwa na ile retention ya watoto katika shule.
Ruth Wamboi for Lunchtime News.
Teachers Training College students have taken to the streets to demonstrate what they have termed as inhuman treatment by the college administration. The students are lamenting hiked fees and inadequate teaching staff and equipment despite paying requisite school fees.
Training college students are demanding a better learning environment. The students went to the Kitui Central Sub-County Education Office to seek redress.
Last time we spent the whole of term without Wi-Fi, yet we had paid for it from the beginning of the term. We started enjoying this Wi-Fi this term. Also, the curtains in our cubes, they were provided just the other Saturday. That is the last Saturday. Again, also about the diet, they improve it one day, then the following day, they interfere here with heat, they relax. The issue of water, in fact, we are drawing water from an oasis somewhere, which is very risky. To our lives.
Sanitation is not good, the hygiene is not good, the diet is not supporting our health, and also even we are missing our clinical officer. We don't have this time, in fact, our clinical officer exited.
The students further adding that their cries have for a long time been falling on deaf ears.
Our chief principal is nowhere to be seen. Our grievances are not taken seriously. Hata choo zetu shule ni chafu. Haya tunapata ugonjwa. CBC ni tuliambiwa ni kitu practical. Alafu tumekuja huku wanatuambia na theory. Hatuna lab, computer lab, hatuna library shule. Tunahangaika, tumeteseka na tumelipia pesa.
The efforts to reach the school principal proved futile as he wasn't available in the institution or on phone. Kitui Central Sub-County officials have however promised to look into their grievances. Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
Now, the National Assembly Committee on Energy is currently clearing the Principal Secretary in the Energy docket. Let's cross over and listen in.
It is left before metering or before commissioning, expecting Kenya Power to take over. Like in the constituency that I come from, you get a lot of transformers that are way back 2013 up to now. They don't work. We have complained all over, it doesn't work. So my question would be, I believe the PS should have actually has a list across the country where transformers are failed, which transformers are these, where are they, so that you have also an implementation sort of things, so that we should not be complaining all over. Because I believe if my constituency is that way, then other constituencies are the same as that. Thank you, Chair.
We will now go to listen to the issue of meters. So that we can extract a commitment on behalf of the Member of Parliament for Magarini. But another very crucial issue has been raised, and I'm sure it has been noted, on the issues of transformers. Some that are also not functioning. In some other constituencies, there is a transformer, and one day and the following day is taken, not stolen, taken by staff of KPLC, relocated to other areas. There's quite a bit of work that you have to do now that you stepped in the other day. But let's allow the...
Chair, just before.
Okay, all right.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I think I want to pick on what Aramat has just said, Honorable Aramat, is that it is true, Chair, that we have a challenge where lines are constructed, power lines are taken to the villages, to schools, then thereafter there's no commissioning of that line or metering of that place. So what I would want us maybe to get from the ministry is it possible for them to relook into this matter in such a way that if REREC is doing a project, they do it to metering and then billing is left for KPLC, so that at least things can go smoothly, because that is where the challenge is. Why would it be that metering must be done by KPLC?
Okay.
I thought these people, both of them, have the technical know-how on doing these duties.
All right, thank you. I think, again, why this concern is that you are giving us a promise that in the next financial year, LELEC will do the project and they will do the metering. The billing will be left to the KPLC. I think that is the commitment you are giving us. But again, in between, we want to know that the very many projects that have been completed, giving Kenyans hope that there will be power and there is no power. How quickly can we get that done? There was an issue that was raised by Risha also as to the issues of metering. There was a conflict. I hope it has been resolved. You respond to all these issues as you give us a commitment on what we expect on Magarini, not just on the metering. I want to expand the expectation, but also to what is it going to be done by when. There will be all these schools without metering, and what is it that we can extract from you on behalf of Magarini within the coming couple of days as you exit from that area?
I think I want to take upon myself that we can raise close to about 1,000 meters that can actually be given to Magarini. That is a commitment I want to make. And
National Assembly Energy Committee engaging the Principal Secretary in the energy docket in regards to questions raised by a number of members of Parliament. Kevin Washira is on the ground. Be sure to catch up with him in our subsequent bulletins with the details on the same at 7 and 9 p.m. KBC Lunchtime News is taking a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.
We are still keen on Germany's DFB Pokal as the quarterfinals is around the corner. In football, it is easy to be intimidated by the top flight teams, but as fate would have it, new entrants do sometimes stand the tables with their patience, perseverance, and self-belief.
Borussia Dortmund are out of the competition. St. Pauli take all the spoils.
It is therefore a tight affair this Tuesday, 1st of March 2022 at 10:45 p.m. in a match pitting Union Berlin against FC St. Pauli. Watch this spectacular duel live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC, your true sports partner.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
I know that your father made a scene, but don't let that bother you. I understand why that makes you angry, and I know a lot of other things are bothering you. But you can't hold any of us responsible for that. Why are you waiting for the wedding to take place?
I'm sure that Damian Ferrer is going to try to hurt Marielle in order to stop her from getting married to his son.
Did you know? Because of all those things you did, you could end up in jail for the rest of your life.
Do you want me to call the police? For goodness sake, you have to help me. Please help attorney.
Lying heart. Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Thank you for staying with us. This is KBC. You're watching the Lunchtime News. A man has been charged in Kiambu Court with 2 counts of human trafficking. Husuman Moche is accused of being behind the alleged trafficking of 108 Ethiopians who were rescued last week in Kiambu County.
Locals Chief Magistrate Diana Mochache, Husuman Moche denied harboring Ethiopian nationals for the purpose of exploitation. Moche was also charged with trafficking 47 minors.
What we want first and importantly is to get the children out of wherever they are. As long as those children are there, then tumemulikwa. So first and foremost, the children out. Where are we taking the children? Can we get the children out of the police station?
Also charged were 3 other suspects, Kelvin Wambui, Daniel Jamhuri and Rosemary Nyambura. Justice Mochache directed Husuman Moche be detained at the Mudaiga police station. Frederick Mwoki for Lunchtime News.
Over 800 families in Mahimahiu in Naivasha, Nakuru County have vowed to stop any further activities on the ongoing construction of the standard gauge railway in Mahimahiu, Naivasha until they are fully compensated. The families claim they are yet to receive any compensation 2 years down the line after they were evicted to pave way for the 2 multi-billion projects.
A land tussle row pitching residents of Maimayo in Naivasha and the government is in the offing after the government commenced linking the standard gauge railway and the meter gauge railway. SGR and the MGR are already operational, serving the nearby inland container depot to the chagrin of tens of affected families. According to the group chairman Daniel Ngugi, the contractors forcefully took over the land without paying them a penny.
Manyumba ni ya kukodisha, wanakomboa kwa sababu reli ilipitia mahali mtu alikuwa amejenga, nyumba yake ilibomolewa. Leo hii huyo mtu mpaka karibu wengine wamefukuzwa na malandlord.
Ngugi accused the National Land Commission and Kenya Railways for their woes.
Hivyo naomba tuweze kulipwa pesa zetu haraka iwezekanavyo ili na sisi tuweze kujimudu kimaisha. Maendeleo ambayo itakuja kuudhi mwananchi ni ya nini?
Margaret Mudhoni, a victim, says she has been left landless after her 2.5 acres were allegedly taken by the government.
Mimi kwanza nimeadhiriwa sana sababu hiyo shamba yangu ilikuwa 2.5. Sasa nimebakisiwa kakuota na hiyo shamba ndio nilikuwa na lima, alafu ninalipia watoto school fees. Kwa saa hii hata mkienda shule na sikundanganyi, mimi niko na ndeni mingi sana kwa shule sababu hiyo shamba yangu.
The chairman of Maimayu community, John Kihiko, challenged the NLC and the Kenya Railways to keep their part of their bargain and pay the affected families.
Sasa tunauliza hata kukijengwa mambo mengine hapa pengine yatajengwa bila kulipa watu. Sisi watu wa Maimayu community tunataka kila mtu alipwe haki yake.
Naomba mheshimiwa Uhuru utusaidie kabisa sababu hapa Maimayu tunateseka kabisa, hatuna wa kutusikia.
The National Land Commission and the Kenya Railways have however pointed an accusing finger at each other over the compensation standoff. Timothy Kipnoso for Lunchtime News.
To political temperatures now, Pamoja African Alliance, or if you like, PA Party, now says it will support Raila Odinga's presidential bid on condition that it will independently field candidates in all other seats. Details on this and many more in the political wrap.
Pamoja African Alliance PA party leader Governor Amason Kingi said his party will field candidates in a gubernatorial, senatorial, parliamentary, women representative and MCA in Kilifi County. Speaking during his tour of development projects in Rabai, Kisurutini ward, Kingi argued that electing leaders in Kilifi through PAA will give the county a better representation.
Manake mkipigia wabunge wengi
wa chama cha PAA, nguvu mmeziacha katika mikono ya warabai. Tutakuwa na sauti ndani ya serikali ya Raila Amolo Odinga. Kama huna mala ufaidi, ikiwa ni tufaidi serikali ya Raila Amolo Odinga, lazima tuwe na nguvu pale ndani. Kumfanya Raila rais si huja. Huja ni kupata faida ndani ya serikali ya Raila.
Elsewhere, 2 parliamentary aspirants have defected from United Democratic Party UDA to Raila Odinga's Azimio la Umoja movement in Narok County.
Mimi nimekuja hapa nikiambia hawa ndugu zangu karibuni sana, tunawapenda sana na tutahakikisha hizo viti mtapata. Kwa hivyo coordinator wetu wa hapo Narok County alikuwa UDA coordinator, sasa amekuja Azimio na ameingia straight away.
Huyu kiongozi ndio MCA wakati huu wa Narosra Ward. Huyu kiongozi amekuwa kiongozi kwa zaidi ya miaka 20.
And the Somali community living in Isiolo have unveiled a youthful candidate for the deputy governor's seat. Led by the Somali Council of Elders Chairman Abdikadir Sharif Abdullahi, members of the community unveiled 33-year-old Omar Hassan Mohammed.
Tutachange cheo yoyote, tutabatia vijana. Na hiyo tumeanza na itaendelea. Hii women rebile naongea saa hii ni kijana, msichana ambaye MCA saa hii na kijana mtaule ndio hiyo. Kwa hivyo tunataka watu ya Isiolo na Wakenya wote, kabila zote, huyu kijana yetu atatumikia.
The government will continue to offer organizational support to maendeleo ya wanawake as it works towards realization of Kenya's Vision 2030 and Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizen Affairs and Special Programs, Professor Margaret Kobia, recognized efforts made by the organization in marshalling grassroots women and supporting government in implementing and coordinating policies regarding women in leadership. Speaking during the 70th anniversary of the organization in Kakamega, Professor Kobia said through the contribution of the organization, Kenya has improved on the Gender Development Index. Gender Development Index measures a country's access to education, health, life expectancy, and well-being.
Kenya has improved from number 118 in 2018 to position 95 in 2020 out of 186 countries that were evaluated.
Well, let's now cross over to the Kenyatta International Conference Center, where there is a major event in regards to infrastructure in the African continent. Let's cross over and join my colleague who is on standby. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Irene. We are here at the KICC for the second day of PIDA Week. PIDA being the Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa, where we're talking matters infrastructure and how they relate to intra-Africa trade. Now, we have with us here Mr. Sylvester Kasuku, who will be telling us more on infrastructure and what we have been able to talk about. Mr. Sylvester, we were talking about the Honorable Raila Odinga yesterday said that 80% of infrastructure in Africa usually fail during the business planning stage. How is that?
Yes, most likely the issues are always about financing, and a lot of projects do face financing, and actually they are able to recover their investments faster. But areas where there are difficulties, particularly with bankable projects, is mainly when you're talking about highways as well as railways. and of course railways is the one that usually faces the greatest difficulty. But infrastructural services like electric power supply has always had a number of financing instruments being offered. And the same applies to pipeline projects, particularly for oil, because again, these are infrastructure projects with a bankable, streams of income.
So just to cut you off there, we're talking about infrastructure projects that the private sector wants to run. Okay, you're an expert in matters integration, cross-border trade, and you were talking about coming up with an integrated digital money system in between countries. Is that possible? Can we hope then that there will be a time African countries will be able to trade with each other on the digital platform?
Absolutely. Digitalization is actually the next sector of the economy. And it is estimated that by the year 2030 we should be having the digital economy actually accounting for about 10% of GDPs in Africa. Again, going forward, having seen challenges that were caused by the pandemic, when physical movement became a challenge, again, going digital is actually the one measure that is going to ensure that whereas we have difficulties in terms of accessing different parts of Africa physically, but using digital platforms, we should be able to transact without really making physical movements. Again, what needs to be done with regard to digital platforms is to ensure the integrity of the platforms, and through e-commerce, we must have integrity in terms of transactions, in terms of goods that are moving, so that we don't move goods that were not intended to be moved. And we do not move goods that are said to be illegal in the name of moving a good that is legal. And that a good arriving at another destination and you find that you have actually received the wrong good. So integrity in terms of e-commerce and integrity of the digital platforms. Again, African countries finding a way through which we can actually transact using currencies in Africa, having stronger integrity in terms of the exchange rates between the countries, and effecting digital payment systems, which are well regulated, not really regulated to kill the digitalization process of transacting business and of conducting e-commerce, but to facilitate that movement, and governments requiring to put their heads together to collaborate in order for us to strengthen integration of the continent as we build the physical infrastructure that is leading us to where we are going.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sylvester. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much, Irene. We have been indulged by Mr. Sylvester Kasuku, who is an expert in matters infrastructure, and we have come to learn that in the future, at some point, we will be able to have a digital economy where African countries will intertrade and will be able to do payments without thinking of the consequences of currencies. Back to you in studio, Irene.
Hibak Said, good to have you. Be sure to catch up with her in our subsequent bulletins with more details in regards to the infrastructure conference, which is entering the second day today. Various experts from varied parts of the country and also the African continent have converged at the Kenyatta International Conference Center. In other matters, from Nairobi County to Kilifi, residents of Ganze sub-county have called for the disbandment of all group ranches in the sub-county and convert them into community land to allow locals residing within the ranches get land ownership documents. The residents who spoke during land sensitization program claimed ranches have not lived up to their purpose and have instead become a source of conflicts between pastoralists and local farmers.
Bamba village in Kilifi County now want Mapotea, Biria, Mnayoni and Dola group ranches disbanded and instead communal land rights be given to different communities in the region. Residents claim ranching activities were not tenable in the area as communities still regard ranch lands belonging to their clans and have instead become a source of conflict among communities.
Hizi ranchi zivunjiliwe mbali na wananchi waje wapimiwe ili kila mtu aweze kumiliki kipande chake cha ardhi. Sema kweli hizi ranches hazitusaidii.
Hakuna ufugaji wowote unaendelea. Kwa hivyo utafaidika namna gani? Hakuna The idea ni uwe kuna central herd ambayo watu wanafuga, wanauza, wanapata. Hivi sasa hakuna shughuli yoyote ya ranching inayoendelea.
The residents who spoke out in Bamba Town during a land sensitization clinic also accused the ranch directors of leasing out the ranches.
Napata kwamba hizi ranches watu wameenda wamechukua loans, hata wale wengine hawakufahamu loans hizi zimechukuliwa namna gani. So at the end of the day, faida hii inaonekana inaenda kwa watu wachache.
Wale walishaji huwa hata wakionyesha wakaambiwa alisheni hapa, unaona wanalisha kote, ambao sasa mwananchi wa kawaida huwa anapata hasara. Jambo hilo linaleta uhasama, kwa sababu hata saa hivi ninavyoongea kuna jamaa watu mmoja ambaye yuko ndani, aliwekwa ndani, hata sasa bado yuko ndani. Kwa hiyo kashfa ya mambo ya kashfa hiyo ya ngamia.
Ronald Zumbe, who is the immediate chairperson of the Biria Ranch Group, said those who mooted for the formation of ranching companies had good intention, but noted that the residents were not properly sensitized on how to carry out ranching activities.
Population imeongezeka kiasi cha kwamba hata ufugaji hauwezi kuendelea. Kwa hivyo kuendelea na ufugaji, utaweka wapi ng'ombe? It's full. Zile nyumba zote kule can't be ranch any longer. Ivunjwe tu na watu wagawanyiwe.
Watu wameanza kuuza mashamba katika maeneo haya. Kwa hiyo hata hizi ranches unapoziona sehemu zingine watu wameanza kukata na kuziuza, na tuna hatari ya kuwa tutakosa mahali pa kuwa tunaweza kusettle. So intention ya hamasa hii ni kwamba kwanza tuweze kuisave hii backyard of Kilifi.
The group was also sensitized on the new law that requires ranches to be registered as community land. For Lunchtime News, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Let's now shift focus to business matters. As electricity prices continue to soar, companies are adopting solar energy as an alternative to cut cost of production and get reliable power. The solar PV system will also substitute for diesel, amounting to a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Crystalline Salt's company has put up solar panels that has the capacity to produce 4,000 kilowatts of power.
Insecure status, with the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics estimating that about 12 million people are food poor. These are the people whose income doesn't enable them to consume enough calories for a healthy lifestyle. In a country with perennial food shortage, waste management can go a long way in alleviating food insecurity. Food Banking Kenya Executive Director and co-founder John Gathungu says his team is working to ensure that food aid is able to reach those in need, with most of the proceeds pumped into school to ensure that children have nutritious supplements.
Nutrition wise, unapata ya kwamba ile chakula ambao tunawapatia, tukiangalia kama uji, iko na mawere, wimbi, mtama. Hii chakula ni chakula ambayo ni nutritious sana kwa watoto ambao wanakuwa. Na kwa sababu sana sana tunafanya kazi ama tunarisha watoto ambao ni wachanga wa primary school, hii inawasaidia hata katika masomo yao.
Based off CSR strategy lead Neema Masinde encouraged more investors to partner with them in order to mitigate the high food insecurity rate as a means of alleviating the hunger problems not only within the country but also globally.
With this project, we came on board in order to help fight food insecurity, like we said, but also because it was aggravated so much by the COVID-19 pandemic. Worldwide and also locally, we understand that a lot of people know that COVID-19 is a pandemic and that it affects health, but it has a ripple effect to food security.
Ndutamo Kami for Lunchtime News.
The Nairobi Metropolitan Transport Area Authority, NAMATA, has moved to clarify information regarding specifications of buses it requires from potential suppliers. The Acting Director General for NAMATA, Francis Gitau, says the agency will have a conference with interested bidders on March 8th to expound on the terms of engagement in the BRT bus supply tender.
February 1st, 2022, Nairobi Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, NAMATA, invited sealed tenders from original bus manufacturers, motor vehicle dealers, leasing companies, financial institutions and interested firms for provision of buses and transport services for the Thika Road BRT project. However, misinformation regarding the types, methods of propulsion and periods of supply of the buses began to emerge, with a section of local bus manufacturers saying the tender was designed to lock them out. Namata stipulated that petrol and diesel-powered buses will not be allowed in the pilot BRT project as part of government efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, with only electric and some hybrid vehicles being deployed on the dedicated lane for large-capacity buses to ease traffic congestion. In a tender notice, Namata has called on bidders to express their interest to join a conference to be held online and will be seen as an avenue to offer clarity on the buses it needs. The authority has provided interested firms with an option of selling the buses or a lease of tenure covering a period of up to 12 years. Alanauko, Lunchtime News.
The World Bank has injected 28 million shillings, Ghanaian state grants, into the operations of 400 small and medium enterprises in Ghana to support their recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. The financing will be available for technical assistance and grants into SMEs with high growth potential to improve their productivity and support job creation. Here now are the details on this and much more across Africa.
The Ghana Enterprises Agency has disbursed the grants as part of the country's economic transformation project. The funds were disbursed to business in the agro-processing, food and beverage, healthcare, and manufacturing industries. Under the Tourism Development Project, the agency has also made grant funding available to SMEs in tourism, a sector that has been disproportionately impacted by the COVID-19 crisis and related travel restrictions. The project is to lay the foundation for increased private investment in Ghana through improving the business environment, facilitating access to industrial land, and bridging the gap in access to finance for firms. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development of the Republic of Mozambique and energy company Eni has signed an agreement for the cooperation and development of agricultural projects in the country, aimed at producing oilseeds and vegetable oils to be used as agro-feedstock for the production of biofuels. Under the agreement, they will be able to assess potential sites and the most appropriate crops for the production of oilseeds and vegetable oils, focusing on areas that would not compete with food production and taking into consideration the preservation of forests and natural ecosystems. Other initiatives include the collection and valorization of agricultural and agro-processing residues, byproducts, and co-products for the production of biofeedstock and natural climate solutions. Finally, MTN Rwanda has rebranded to reflect its evolution from Rwanda's most valuable telecommunications provider to the nation's leading digital technology company. The rebrand reflects MTN's group commitment to its Ambition 2025 strategy to build leading digital platforms that enable Africa's progress across the telecom, fintech, infrastructure, content, and messaging ecosystem. It aims to accelerate growth and unlock the value of its infrastructure assets and platforms to enable its customers to access quality services across the country. The digitization of their distribution channel and unveiling the fresh look will enhance the way of doing their business to their valued customers and stakeholders.
Time for Channel 1 Sports News. Russian football clubs and national teams